previous video, we learnt about chapter 2 Canterville Chase through a video, and we learnt about the author and the main characters of the story. Today we are going to understand the story once again through the text. So let's start. Chapter 3 The Canterville Ghost. The Canterville Ghost is a well-known short story by Oscar Wilde. It is a ghost story with a difference. Instead of fear and tension, humor rules the story. The humans are not afraid and the ghost struggles to scare them. So far, no one had insulted the clever ghost in this way. The ghost had finally met its match in this spirited, bold American family. Frightening them seemed almost impossible. The main characters of the stories are Lord Canterville, the owner of the mansion called Canterville Chase; Mr. and Mrs. Otis, a wealthy middle-aged American couple; Mrs. Amney, the old housekeeper of Canterville Chase; Washington, the eldest son of the Otis family; Virginia, the 15-year-old daughter of Otis family; the twins, the two brothers, the youngest member of the Otis family. Now the scene 1 begins at the Canterville Chase. Now at the Canterville Chase, the Canterville Ghost, the story begins at the sale of the old British mansion called Canterville Chase to Mr. Otis, an American minister. When he bought Canterville Chase, everyone told him that he was doing a very big foolish thing, as there was no doubt at all that the place was haunted. Though the former owner, the previous owner, Lord Canterville, wants Mr. Otis, he said, "I am really very happy that you are buying Canterville Chase, but there is something you should know. There is a ghost in the chase, in this mansion." Mansion means a large big house. This mansion is haunted. Haunted means frequented by a ghost. Mr. Otis is not worried and he replies that ghosts do not exist. He don't believes in the existence of any ghost. But Lord Canterville said that, "I think you should listen to our family story." He said, "I'll tell you what happened to my grand aunt, the Dowager Duchess of Bolton. As this play was performed on the stage, the side of the stage was where Mr. Otis and Lord Canterville are standing is darkened, and the other side of the stage had lit up, means the light focused on the other side of the stage, and sounds of the woman screaming was heard. The butler means the main head male servant in the house, and the housekeeper lead the Duchess to a chair and gave her a drink of water. She sits down terrified. She was very afraid. She was very much terrified while sitting on the chair. Means he was extremely in fear. And in this fear, she said, "Please don't leave me alone here. Take me away. From wherever you go, you also take me with you. Don't leave me here alone." And suddenly she screams and shouted, "Get away from me. Don't touch me." She was shouting like that. The housekeeper said, "My lady, I know there is nobody here. Look around you." But the Duchess of Bolton, Lord Canterville's grand aunt, was very much terrified at the appearance of ghost. She said, "It had its bony hand on me. I didn't notice at first. I thought it was a cold draft. Cold draft means a rush of cold air. Then I saw those skeleton hands." She screamed again in fear and fainted. Now, the other side where Mr. Otis and Lord Canterville were standing, that portion of the stage now lit up. The light focused on them. And not this side, means this side where the Duchess fainted, now that part was darkened. Here Lord Canterville was telling Mr. Otis that his grand aunt was so afraid that she never recovered from the shock. And at this, Mr. Otis said, "You want me to believe this?" "Mr. Otis, the ghost has been seen by several members of my family. After unfortunate incident, to the Duchess, none of our younger staff would stay with us," said Lord Canterville. At this, Mr. Otis replied, "We have come from a modern country. We do not want to believe in such things. We have money and everything the money can buy." He means that he had ample of money, more than enough money. He could not only buy the Canterville chase, but ghost too, and place it in the museum for its worth. At this, Lord Canterville said, "If you don't mind, a ghost in your house, it's quite all right with me. But let me tell you one last time, the ghost has been around for 3 centuries, and it always makes its appearance before the death of a family member." At this, Mr. Otis, guffawing means laughing loudly, he said, "as does the family doctor." He meant the ghost will appear like as the family doctor appears before the death of a family member. Scene 2. In the library of Canterville Chase. Mrs. Amney enters the library, followed by Mr. and Mrs. Otis, Washington, Virginia, and the twins. Tea is laid out for the Otis family. Suddenly, Mrs. Otis notices what looks like a blood stain. At this, Mrs. Otis said, "I am afraid something has been split there." Mrs. Amney said in hushed voice. Hushed voice means in a low voice, "Yes, madam, blood has been split on that spot." "Oh, really? You know, I really don't care for blood stain. I want it removed at once," said Mrs. Otis. Mrs. Amney again said in hushed voice, "It is the blood of Lady Eleanor de Canterville, who was murdered on that very spot by her own husband, Sir Simon de Canterville, in 1575. 9 years after the murder, he disappeared himself mysteriously. His body was never found." Lowering her voice further, she said, "But his guilty spirit still haunts the chase." Guilty spirit means the ghost of Sir Simon de Canterville, who is guilty of murdering his wife. At this, Washington said, "What nonsense! Watch me remove the stain." He took out a small stick from his bag and rubbed it over the stain. As he rubbed the stain, there was a sudden flash of lightning and a peal of thunder. Mrs. Amney looked terrified and fainted. At this, Mr. Otis said, "What monstrous English climate! And what we do with this woman who fainted? Said Mrs. Otis. But suddenly Mrs. Amne revives and look at the Otis family. Means she again comes back to its normal. Monstrous means terrible and revive means to recover from fainting and come back to normal. Mrs. Amne said, I have seen things with my own eyes, sir, which would make anyone's hair stand on end. Many a night I have not closed my eyes in sleep due to the awful things that happened here. Mr. Otis said, It's all right, Mrs. Amne. There's nothing to fear. At any rate, ghost will not be able to frighten us. The children started laughing. Scene 3. In the morning, in the library. Twins, the two boys, Lewis and Clark, enters the library. Lewis said, Look, the blood stain is back. The ghost must have been here again. Clark said, Let's camp out here tonight and wait for him. Lewis said, We will trap him here. You sleep by the door and I'll sleep on the desk, so I could jump on top of him. Clark said, Let's come here with our pillows tonight and wait for him. Scene 4. At night in the Canterville chase. Mr. Otis was asleep. The loud sound of clanking metal was heard. Mr. Otis woke up suddenly. He said, What on earth is that sound? Wait, it's getting closer. No, I'm not imagining things. I can hear now the footsteps. He took a small bottle of oil out of a case and opened the door. There, right in front of him, he saw an old man. His eyes are red like burning coal. He has long grey matted hair. Matted hair means dry knotted hair. He wears old-fashioned dirty clothes and his wrists and ankles are bound by rusty chains. Looking at him, Mr. Otis said, Goodness me, my dear sir, you cannot go creaking about like this. I insist that you oil your chains. I will leave this bottle of oil for you. It is said to be very effective. Do apply it on your chains and let me know if you need more. And now good night, sir. Mr. Otis went back to his room and closed the door. The ghost was very angry. He said, How dare he? How dare he laughed at me? And he thrown the bottle away. And before he left the place, he thrown a green light around himself and fills the air with horrible groans. As he went up the steps, the twins appeared at the top of the stairs. They said, We caught you. They threw the pillow at him and the ghost tried to escape himself from the hit of the pillows. Scene 5. The ghost was furious. He was very angry and wanted to take his revenge. He said, I will take my vengeance. Vengeance means revenge. Do they know who I am? Do they know what fearful appearance I have made? Have they seen the furor I can create? Create means the fearful scene, my rage, my anger can create. How dare they, these Americans, the gall means rude and arrogant behavior, to ask me to grease my own chains, and those twins to throw a pillow at my head. At my head. Okay, calm down. I have to take this throw. No ghost in history has been insulted like this. Revenge. Oh, I will have the last laugh. How dare they? Last laugh means at last I'm going to win. He said like that. Grammar, page 34, phrases and clauses. So, what is a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that make sense but not a complete sense. It has no subject and no verb. It do not give us the complete information. For example, on that very spot. So, what on that spot? Flash of lightning. So, what about the flash of lightning? It's not clearing the sense. A phrase does not have a verb of its own and therefore does not complete the meaning. Whereas a clause is a group of words that has a verb. It can be part of a sentence or be a sentence itself. A clause has a subject and a predicate of its own. For example, Mrs. Amne has fainted. Here, Mrs. Amne is subject and fainted is a verb. Here, it's also giving us the complete information. Example 2. Mr. Otis opened the door when he heard the clanking of chains. Here, he had heard the clanking of chains. Here, he is subject and heard is verb. It is also giving us the complete information. So, it is a clause. Let me explain you with one more example. My best friend. Here, no subject is there and no verb is there. It is also not giving us the complete information. It is a phrase. Now, next one is John is my best friend. Here, John is subject, is verb, and it's also giving us the complete information. It is a clause. Now let's see what is dependent and independent clause. See the example. Mr. Otis opened the door when he heard the clanking of the chain. Mr. Otis opened the door. It is a clause. Mr. Otis is a subject. Opened is a verb, but it is not giving us the complete sense. It needs some more words to give its meaning. Means it is dependent clause. When is a linking word here which making the connection between two clauses. He heard the clanking of chains is another clause in the sentence which is giving its complete sense. It do not need the help of any other words. So it is a independent clause. In this, he is the subject and heard is a verb. It is an independent clause. Let's do exercise A. Write whether the highlighted words are phrases or clauses. Write P for phrases and C for clauses. First one. He was in school when I called yesterday. In school, here it is a phrase. Once he leaves, we can start work on the project. Once he leaves is a clause. They travelled to Odisha by train. By train is a phrase. I heard that Reena won first place in the painting competition. Reena won the first place in the painting competition is a clause. Hearing the children's voices, the kitten rushed to the door. The kitten rushed to the door is a clause. Father has left us dinner on the table. On the table is a phrase. Phrases can be of different kinds. Look at this table. Phrase, noun phrase. Noun plus words that modify a noun. It means, here look at the example. The woman in the blue jeans. Here the woman is noun plus in the blue jeans are the other words which modifying the noun. Here the noun is the woman. It's modifying means giving us more information about the noun. So the woman in the blue jeans telling us that the woman is in the blue jeans is my aunt. Noun phrase performs the work of a noun in a sentence. Adjective phrase, adjective plus other modifier. See the example. This tablecloth. Here tablecloth is the subject and the words describing the tablecloth is a adjective. Here adjective is not in one word, it is in a form of phrase. Beautifully hand stitched and embroidered means here the beautifully hand stitched embroidery is adjective phrase which is performing the work of an adjective in a sentence. Prepositional phrase. See the example. The greenhouse behind the old bus depot belongs to my grandmother. Here behind the old bus depot is a prepositional phrase. Behind is preposition and behind the old bus depot together it becomes a prepositional phrase which describes the noun which is the greenhouse. It modifying the noun, telling us more about the noun, that the noun, the greenhouse, is behind the old bus depot which belongs to my grandmother. Here the preposition is describing the noun, so it means it is doing the work of an adjective in a sentence. Adverb phrase. Adverb means something added to verb. See the example. We managed to find our way through the maze of narrow street. Here find is verb and how the way they will find? Through the maze of narrow street. So something added to the verb means it becomes the adverb and in a form of phrase. So it performs the work of an adverb in a sentence. Now let's do exercise B. Write whether the highlighted words are noun phrases NP, adjective phrases AP, prepositional phrases PP or adverb phrases AVP. First one. Has anyone seen a small grey kitten? A small grey kitten is a noun phrase. Second, she gave me a glass of water. A glass of water is adverb phrase. My grandmother is in the garden. In the garden is prepositional phrase PP. The girl riding the pony looks very familiar. Here riding the pony is adjective phrase. Next one. The bakery is popular because of its cake. Because of its cake is adverb phrase. He struggled up the steep flight of stairs. Up the steep flight of stairs is prepositional phrase. Vocabulary. Write the correct words for these meanings. Number 1. The main character of a play or film is protagonist. Number 2. The special clothes worn by the people on the stage is costume. Powder or paint worn on the face is makeup. Number 4. The people listening to or watching the performance is audience. Number 5. The room where actors dress or change for their roles in a play is green room. Now your homework from page 35. Use these phrases in sentences of your own in your notebook. Mention what kind of phrases they are. Also write the word meanings and the question and answers in your English notebook. With this, we complete this lesson.